Okay, my friends, so we are currently editing my second book, Dying with Regrets. So we're going to be talking about now, in this part of the book edit, the section where I actually went ahead and quit my job after talking about it for many months and even years prior, and how I was so scared to actually do it that I almost actually went back on doing what I said I was going to do and just forget about, say, quitting my job completely and just staying stuck where I knew I didn't belong and where I really didn't want to be. So this chapter is called The Turn Back Moment. The following Friday had quickly come round, and I woke up that morning feeling as if it were D-Day. I had many thoughts bouncing around in my brain all morning, and I didn't speak to anybody at all. In all honesty, I was still contemplating changing my mind and going back on what I had already agreed to do the week before. I thought I could keep that conversation to myself by pretending it never happened, deleting all social media, and then going back to living my mediocre, mundane life. As the day dragged on, I was purposely avoiding asking my boss for the chat that evening. However, I finally plucked up the courage to ask him for a quick conversation before I left. I spent the rest of the day in silence before it rapidly got round to 5:30. The time I'd been dreading all day. As I was sat shaking, my lying brain was still trying to talk me out of it and was desperately trying to convince me that I still had time to back out. Our ancient survival brain's only job is to keep us safe and alive at all times, and it does not give a damn about our personal happiness or quality of life. So any time it feels threatened or in any type of danger, it says, "Fuck you," and goes into survival mode where it literally wants to run in the opposite direction. The thing is that our brain often confuses fear with danger. Back in the days when humans lived in caves, it was necessary for them to have a naturally negativity biased brain, which meant to focus more on the negative aspects of life. The reason why it was vital for our early ancestors to constantly seek out negativity was because there was always the imminent threat of danger, usually in forms of an attack from something like a saber-toothed tiger, hence why it was essential for those humans to always be in a heightened state of emotions. Hold on one second. Hence why it was essential for those humans to always be in state of emotion. I'm going to change that there. Right, so, carrying on. They constantly had to be in that fight or flight mode just in case one day they walked out of their cave and came face to face with a predator. So for them, it was actually life or death. The crazy thing is that we as civilized humans have dragged that same brain with us through to the modern age. Even though nowadays there is relatively minimal danger of ever being attacked after leaving your home, especially by a man-eating mammal. My boss came upstairs and could see I was absolutely petrified, so he sat down next to me and asked me what I wanted to talk to him about, but my mind went completely blank and not a single word came out. I was frantically trying to think of something to say, but couldn't think of the best or the right way to explain exactly what I wanted to say. So I just said it as it is. I'm quitting my job. And he instantly replied with, "Well done." What the fuck? I wasn't expecting that. I had created a crazy story within my mind of how things were going to go, and it turned out to be the complete opposite. I instantly felt relieved, and that huge weight had suddenly dropped straight off my shoulders. He asked me what I planned to do, so I started explaining everything I had been doing online over the past year whilst working full-time too. And he then told me how great it sounded and how he would also support me any way that he could. I felt so much better and couldn't believe I had been so fearful to have the conversation with him, which in all honesty we should have had a long time before. Shortly after, I had replaced my fear with fun, as we were both sat there laughing and joking about all of the great times we experienced over the many years. And then he began to tell me how he also quit his job when he was younger to go and travel the world. This made me feel even more at ease, and I went home that evening knowing full well I had made the correct decision. So remember to always say what you mean and mean what you say, because the people that matter don't mind, but the people that mind don't matter. At one point in time, I believed that I needed to go on many different courses and have all these certificates in order to be able to help others. But that's really not the case. I grew up believing knowledge is power, so I spent many months learning new things and was regularly researching the best ways in which I could help others. Of course, it's important to constantly be improving your knowledge, and it's necessary to be a lifelong learner. However, many, me included, get caught up on the research stage whilst convincing ourselves that we need to complete course after course and have a bunch of certificates under our belts before we can begin to start. Realise that this is just a crap excuse for procrastinating, because the best certificate you'll ever have is the certificate of life from your very own lived experience. People like to say that knowledge is power, but it isn't power unless it has been applied, because the world is full of information and not enough implementation. Knowing and not doing is just the same as not knowing at all. If you want to do something that you've never done before, then it's going to require you to take uncomfortable and unfamiliar action steps. If you want something you've never had, then you must be willing to do something you've never done. You don't even have to be great to start, but you have to start in order to be great. So, stop thinking and start doing, because with each step forwards you will gain a specific result that you can learn and grow from. If you're waiting for the right time to start, then you may be waiting for the rest of your life. That's because there is no right time, and you'll never be ready. Understand that now is the only time, so begin making moves knowing that progress is the byproduct of taking action, and big thoughts backed up by big actions will always eventually end up in big results. Your survival brain is defeated long before your body can give any more, but the decisions you make after your brain tells you to stop will separate you from the ordinary and the extraordinary people in life. Realise that plain people prioritise pleasure, but powerful people prioritise pain. Because taking the easy route will always result in average results at max. However, taking the hard route will eventually gift you the greatest experiences, knowledge and opportunities you could ever imagine. You get to decide whether you do what's comfortable and easy or what's hard and necessary. Don't ever wait for an opportunity to be everything you want it to be before you say yes to it. When an opportunity to become more than you currently are presents itself and you feel magnetised towards it, take the leap knowing that this is the first step on your new path that could lead to an incredible life of fulfillment. Taking the leap of faith even, to go all in on your dreams demands you to trust in your own intuition and to trust in your own skills and abilities, but also requires you to have somewhat of an amount of blind faith. This is because success is never guaranteed, and it's the reason why many never make their dreams become their reality. Success requires commitment, it requires courage, consistency, and the discipline to do what needs to be done regardless of how you feel. Having blind faith is the belief that you don't really know how you're going to achieve your goal, but as long as you keep moving forwards, the path will be presented and you will eventually accomplish what you set out to do. It's like living your life in the headlights, which is the same as driving your car down a dark, twisty road at night. You can't see all the way to the end of the road, and you don't know what potential obstacles are round each corner. But as long as you focus on the few feet you can see in front of you and keep moving forwards, then you'll eventually get to where you want to go. This goes back to the importance of first setting your life's GPS and having a very clear end goal in mind. You don't have to have every single step of the way figured out. You just need to make moves knowing that with a strong enough why, you'll be able to figure out anyhow. Your belief is something that will definitely help you achieve your goals much quicker. However, doubt kills more dreams on a daily basis. The moment you doubt whether you can fly, you cease forever to be able to do it. Because if you think you can or think you can't, you are usually right. Nobody just believes in themselves for the sake of believing in themselves. Belief comes from the results that are gained from taking the uncomfortable action in the first place. So, with that being said, you can't truly believe in yourself until you've taken action. The great thing about this is that you don't even need to believe in yourself in order to take that very first step. It's vital to start building yourself a portfolio of evidence by the ways of results to confirm your reasons to believe in your own abilities. When you constantly do what you didn't think was possible, what becomes possible expands. Compare it to learning how to swim. You could do all the research in the world and read as many how to swim books as you want, but you're never going to truly know if you can do it until you take the first uncomfortable action step, which is to jump in and give it a go. Yes, it's going to be scary, and no, you shouldn't do it without the correct support systems around you, but until you've jumped in, you'll never know how good you are or know what else you need to do to become better in the future. If you want to walk on water, then you're going to have to get out of the fucking boat and dip your feet into the pool of possibilities. Just know that you need to believe in yourself before anybody else does. And once you truly believe in yourself, then nothing can or ever will stop you from achieving greatness in your life. So many people say that they're waiting for motivation to get started. This is absolute crap, because motivation is a byproduct of the results you gain from the uncomfortable action you first took, and motivation itself doesn't last. If you're waiting for some motivation to get going, then here it is. You're gonna fucking die. Motivation is just a temporary feeling, but discipline is going to get you from where you currently are to where you ultimately want to be. Motivation is doing something only when you feel good and when you want to do it. And discipline is to do the things regardless of how you currently feel, whether you want to do them or not. Discipline is what you do whilst no one else is watching. Just think about it. You don't need to be disciplined to do the things that aren't good for you, but you do need it for the things that are. Self-discipline is the best form of self-love, and discipline is also like a muscle that's strengthened the more you use it. For example, you don't need to use your discipline muscles to eat your favourite fast food, but you do need to work them to decide to choose a healthy meal instead. Becoming and staying disciplined requires repeated efforts and commitment. You need to start small, then gradually increase the challenges you set yourself. Even if you stumble along the way, don't get discouraged. Get back up, dust yourself off, and continue with the renewed determination, knowing that discipline is a skill which is developed with practice and commitment. When we have a crystal clear vision of a greater future, we are usually compelled to take action. Just think back to the last time you went on holiday. Did you need motivation to get things done? Or did you get all of your shit together because you were so excited to go? Yeah, I'm sure some of you left your packing till the last minute, but I bet no one had to force you up and out of bed that morning or beg yourself to drive to the airport and get on the plane. When we can see a compelling future that's greater than our current reality, we as humans start to develop some sort of superhuman strength and can usually figure out and overcome challenges which are much greater than the usual ones we face. Because when your why for doing something is big enough, you're then much more likely to take the uncomfortable action steps that are required in order for the how to begin to reveal itself. So many let the fear of looking like a novice stop them from following their dreams, but realise that everything starts at the beginning because there is no other way. Let go of the need to look like an expert to begin with, and whatever you do, don't let your ego stop you from starting. Nobody is fully certain when starting anything new, but believe me when I say that the magic is in the unknown and the uncertainty. Because the unfamiliar is a blank canvas of opportunity for you to explore and design the life of your dreams. Many people in life are so scared of stepping out into the unknown that they permanently put off ever potentially accomplishing their dreams and desires. but it's important to realise that nothing removes uncertainty better than experience. If you start something new and feel as if you are an imposter, then embrace that feeling, knowing you are in the process of levelling up your life. I believe we should actively seek places and positions where we feel so far out of our depth, but rather than using the detrimental language of identifying yourself as an imposter, you should replace it by saying, I am a beginner, and understand how important language and self-identity are to one's overall growth and development. Life is going to be painful either way, but you get to choose the type of pain you go through. You can either face the temporary growing pains of pursuing your personal path of purpose, or the permanent pain of regret for not going after what you really want. Understand that if you don't risk the unusual, then you'll just have to settle for the ordinary. And who the fuck wants that? Yes, it's going to be uncomfortable, but the most wonderful thing about taking the leap into the unknown is that if all shit hits the fan, then you can always go back to where you first began. The only thing between where you currently are and your dreams is the story you keep telling yourself for why you can't have it. So rather than looking at all the potential risks, try to flip your focus and see all the possible future opportunities. Know that the word winning means the path and progress of struggle and strife towards a desired outcome which has far greater value than the pain endured through that specific journey. So many people want to receive the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, but aren't willing to first get drenched until the sun comes out. The thing is that if there is no rain, then there is no rainbow, and with no rainbow, there is no pot of gold. If you're prepared to push through the temporary pain and get covered in crap a few times, then the path to your riches will eventually become that much clearer. You must be willing to do the things today that others won't in order to have You must be willing to do the things today that others won't in order to have tomorrow the things that others don't. There we go, my friends. Thank you so much for listening to this one. This was a good one, actually. So I beg you to listen to this back if you didn't hear all of it. And even if you did, I would say go and listen to this one again, because even for me, it was very good to remind myself of some of the things that I've written here. So yeah, very good part of the book here in this edit. So thank you for listening. Go and rewatch it when I post it up. If anyone wants to get on the wait list for the book Dying with Regrets, visit dyingwithregrets.ryannurse.com. Hit the link in my bio or send me a DM. Thank you, my friends. Bye bye.